Well, you're welcome. To the barber shop. You're welcome. To the barber shop. Barber Shop Podcast. Got to be episode right up around 240. 240.
We think. We're not sure.
You know what? That sounds like a good number to me. It's a nice round number, and we are a nice round bunch of individuals from the great round city of Hamilton, Ontario. It is, in fact, one of the greatest musical cities on the face of the earth, and one of the greatest musical countries. Don't want to be all proud, but damn it, there's a lot of great music around Hamilton, Ontario. We feature a little bit of it each and every week. Stories, songs, insights, a remarkable thing, starting from nothing, growing into the international, highly renowned forum that it has become today. Barber Shop Podcast. We're so darn proud of it, like a couple of proud parents, three of us, Gary, Ryan, and myself. Boys, how you doing tonight? Things
good.
Very well.
Looking and sounding good.
We both got mics now, too.
Dual mics. It's finally
Dual
happening.
I don't know if anyone can hear us. I'm feeling they can't, but whatever.
I can hear you.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So had a couple weeks off. We had
we fixed everything.
Updated everything, put new flooring in the control room so you guys can slide around at high rates of speed in the wheelie chairs with no worries about falling through the floor. And we came back with a bang this week, I tell you. And we are now, as if you're watching right now, live streaming on Facebook. It has been incredible going to Facebook. The sheer numbers of people who are addicted to Facebook, the crack that it is. We like to be right there where people are most addicted so they can get addicted to us, because if you're going to be addicted, it might as well be to something as good as Barber Shop Podcast. So this week we have something incredibly special. This is someone who is near and dear to me, a Hamiltonian who has traveled to the far corners of the earth, as it were, and made a new life for herself, a continuation of the life that she had here, and has brought back her stories and her songs and a progression of the life force that she has. She's such an incredible person, a great musician, a singer-songwriter, producer, engineer, and probably a whole bunch of other things we're going to find out about tonight with Carolyna Lovely. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. How you doing?
Well, that was so lovely. Nice to see you too, Ken.
Yeah. So you brought, of course, let me introduce, we got our good friend Jerry Gregg, who's come in as well, and Nick Burson, who are a couple of fantastic musicians.
Couldn't be happier.
And it's kind of great when someone comes in on the fly and says, all right, here are my songs, and someone learns them up and they sit down and you see it actually kind of pull together. It's a beautiful thing, and you're going to be amazed at how good it sounds tonight. So tell us about, take it back, this is your first time on the show, so we don't get to pick up from right now. You got to go back for everyone, talk about the early days, about when the hook was sunk and when music became a big part of your life.
It was very early, very, very early, because my mom was a guitar player, my dad played banjo, and so very early we were turned on to music, and at 5 I got a piano and was playing, trying to write my own music at that time. Even I remember 7 years old, I wrote my first 3-part piece, and didn't sound anything like the things I write now. You know, but it was a kid stuff and it was fun. And then I started doing all of we were, what's the word you want to use, because you don't want to offend your mother? How do you say indoctrinated?
Yes.
Into one of those religious people groups. And so yeah, I used to do that Wednesdays and Sundays, sing a lot of music with those people. And you learn a lot, even if it's not necessarily what it is you end up doing. You learn a lot of things. And I played music with that group of people till I was about 13, and heard Led Zeppelin. And
did you have to be? Was it your secret for a while? Did you have to?
Oh, dirty secret too.
Yeah.
You know, the one you played, and you just go, "Oh my God, that's Satan music."
Yeah, it's so good.
It was so good.
Yeah,
it was very good. But Yeah, I liked all the chilled stuff, but I still loved all the country because that's what I grew up with too. We were allowed country music and we were allowed John Denver and all those kind of things. And my mom loved good songs. She loved good lyric. And,
Yeah.
yeah. And she started writing with me. My mom, a guitar player, so she would teach me. And we wrote songs together when I was a young girl. And then she bought me my first guitar. I think I was about 19 because I'd only been on piano before that. And she didn't have a lot of money, but she bought my first guitar and said, just do me a favor and learn how to play it, because she paid probably $500 more than she was planning to. And so I did, and I stole her car and went to Nashville and learned how to play guitar and play with other players, and always played up so that I could learn a lot more. Just, you know.
And there's a level of fearlessness that has to happen that failing, there's not really any such a thing as failing, and learning, embracing the unknown. A lot of people just don't want to make that step, but they find that quite often the players who are above you are so gracious and supportive, and it's one of the best things that you can do is to challenge yourself in that
Absolutely.
manner.
And a lot of people like to be this, you know, the big fish, small pond thing. I've never minded being the small fish, big pond. The big pond has a lot of fish to choose from, you know, and depending on, and that's the other thing as a writer, because I've written my whole life and made more as a living as a writer than I have as a performer. So I've always written on numerous genres, multiple genres, and to be able to play that with all different kinds of players in all different countries and, you know, on different stages in the world. Great players in every genre on my stages, you know, and I didn't make money on performance for decades because I just pay the boys so they'd come out and play with me, and they did. It was so nice. And then you get to a level where they're very happy that you're calling, and then that's, you know, that's really nice too.
Now, how long have you been producing and engineering, and do you how much involvement do you do in your own work? Do you record and produce all your own stuff, or do you let that go and have I like
to let my voice go, that's for sure, because I've never been able to actually nail it. You know, I add something. I don't know if it's that you can't hear your own voice the way that you actually sound. I don't know if that's it, but for some reason I always end up putting some honk on my voice that doesn't actually, it's not there. Or it's there and somebody else knows how to get rid of it and I don't. So either way, I usually hand my voice off to someone else, not in demos and those kind of things or just quick recordings, but when it's time to make the CD, it's usually somebody else's recording of my voice, yes.
Now, what about the songs themselves? As your sound kind of progresses and changes, as we all do, there's a maturity and just life itself has such an impact. Do you say, oh, that's kind of good for a future if I have a work that's a little more country or a little more traditional, and you put it in a pile until you wind up in a pile that's big enough for a certain genre? Or do you just go through moods and that's all you can write for a certain period of time?
No, I'll write. As I was saying to Jared just a moment ago, while I'm on here on this tour, I've been writing crazily, mostly lyric, and my head comes through, and that's not ever how I've written before. I would write a song and I'd get a little bit of a melody, and then everything sort of comes together, and then the lyrics sort of fall out of my mouth. But and I hope to have a recording pressing at that point, but sometimes not so much.
Yeah.
But when I do write those songs that are in all the different genres, sometimes I use them for publishing purposes, because that's, again, is my business. But other times they just sit there, and I play them out and hopefully find an audience that likes them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they stay on a side, you know, until it's their time.
Right.
Yeah. I've got some that I've just recorded recently that I just revisited and looked at, you know. And there's one on that album, actually, that was the same sort of thing. And
you find the same song changes significantly over a period of time, depending on what you're...
I think there's a morphing that happens each decade or every 5 years or whatever, if you continue to play.
Yeah.
And if you're playing with similar players around the world, you kind of get this thing that becomes yours. You know, you get a style. You can still do your soul music. You can still have that kind of thing, even if you're playing country, because especially today, where they've turned it into pop country, country that has a bit of soul in it is widely sought after for those of us who aren't into pop country.
Yeah, it's true. It's a very powerful force. When you look at the numbers of country music, it is anyone who hasn't written in it or seriously looked at it should, because it's got a very loyal
very loyal
group of people.
all around the world too.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised where you find things. Do you know in Seoul, Korea, there's a bluegrass festival, goes for 2 weeks.
Wonderful.
A man, South Korean man who went to Harvard, fell madly in love with bluegrass music and brought back a bluegrass festival.
Fantastic. I'm gonna go on the internet. I'm gonna search
I know,
that
right?
up
Go look
later.
for it,
Look for that. All right. Speaking of treasure on the internet, we're going to start off with a live tune, as we tend to do around here. What is the first one you're going to play for us
This is called
tonight?
Slow Gin and Beeswax.
Anything you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, when I lived down in the States, I did a lot of time down in the States, and I fell in love with Kentucky. And I fell in love with Nashville, but it's busy and loud and noisy. And the outskirts of Kentucky, first they were magnificent, rolling hills, a lot like,
Horse country.
I love that thing. And so, yeah, I found a good group of players that were both country and blues, and I fell right into the middle of it. And so this is that kind of thing.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And it's called?
Slow Gin and Beeswax.
Slow Gin and Beeswax for Carolyna Lovely right here, right now on barbershoppodcast.com.
I've been making slow gin and beeswax as long as I remember. Found my way around a garden, then I found my way around a kitchen larder. Found my way around this guitar, found my way into your heart. Planted a seed so I could grow my garden anywhere I please. You might find me back in old Kentucky, playing the blues on the weekends where the boys are crooning and the girls are weeping. You might find me back in old Kentucky, plant a little garden and make slow gin and beeswax. Thing I learned about traveling is I'm always following myself. Can't seem to lose me, no how, so I thought I'd better find something I do well. You seem to like my songs, I sure like playing them for you. I plant them just like little seeds so I can let my head anywhere I please. You might find me back in old Kentucky, playing the blues on the weekends where the boys are crooning and the girls are weeping. You might find me back in old Kentucky, plant a little garden and make slow gin and beeswax.
Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Little gin and beeswax here. Carolyna Lovely at Barber Shop Podcast.com. You have got a big show tomorrow night at This Ain't Hollywood at 3:45 James Street North. It's an early show, I believe, 8 p.m. And tell us about that.
I'm so excited. Well, first, I'm ridiculously excited. So when I think of Hamilton, I think of players, and I think of This Ain't Hollywood and Lou Baby. Because who doesn't think of Lou Baby when you think of This Ain't Hollywood? So I was meant to be playing with Dwayne Reuter, which I was really happy about, but he had something else that came up. So I was playing Oakville the other night with Dan Walsh, and there's nobody I would rather sit beside me right now than Dan Walsh on guitar. The guy is a madhouse. Have you heard him?
Yeah.
Have you had him in your place?
I have not.
You must.
I'm going to have to grab him tomorrow night.
Oh.
Garner him, put something around his ankle, commit, and then I will release him when he commits.
Wonderful.
That's how we do it. It's a bit of a bear trap, actually. No, it is a bear trap, actually.
Nice. Super fine. Super fine. And to bring him to This Ain't Hollywood, because I don't think he's played there.
No.
And introduce my audience to him, and he'll bring a few people out. And
introduce the band to him.
Yes, introduce the band to him.
Yes.
That's right, because we've not all played together before.
Yeah, and this is
The first time Nick and I played
First
together
time,
too, I believe.
Yeah.
We've done this to Nick a number of times.
Yeah, cool.
dropped him in the middle of it, and he kind of he loves it as much as he hates it. And,
Come to the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only do this because no one else.
I love it more than I hate it. Yeah. More than I hate it, for sure.
Yeah, nice. Yes,
but it's a good time to be had by all. Cover is tenner.
$10, yeah.
$10, and for that is a full night of entertainment. I went to a couple movies in the last week and a half after not going to movies for a long time.
Did you go see Wonder Woman just to watch
I did.
her?
I saw Wonder Woman. I took the girls because I want to check that out. And then I did watch her as well. And there was a whole island of them, actually. So
I know, right?
It was quite good. And then to make up for it, I saw Dunkirk. So one was all women and one was all men.
Nice.
So it was like kind of worked out together. But, what was it? 3 pops, a popcorn, and 3 candies. $40.
I know, it's ridiculous. But if you had a headset, so I can't suspend my belief enough for, superheroes and things, but I do because she's magnificent to look at. Yeah. And I hate war movies. And so you put the two things together and so halfway through the movie, I went with my mother and brother, and halfway through the movie I said, Mama, do not remember a superhero girl that looked like that saving World War II. Wasn't in my history books. Yeah. She's like, oh dear God, enjoy the movie. But all I wanted was a headset so I could listen to my favorite music and then watch that gorgeous girl run around on the screen. It would have been like the best ever.
Win-win for everybody.
Super video.
Yeah. We've got giveaway.
Yeah.
Giveaway. We don't often have swag giveaways, but stickers are great. This one says, you can have my guitar when you pry my cold, dead fingers off of it. All right. That's paraphrased from probably Chuck Heston in the NRA. But it is. It is. Swamp Folk Records. And who doesn't want that? And all you have to do is be the first person on Facebook Live to tell us who's playing bass tonight.
Nice.
And he's been on the show. He's been on the show once or twice or 3 times.
I think this is third.
This is the 3rd time. So you get the T-shirt, but not quite the smoking jacket.
No, I'm nowhere in Nick's category yet.
Nick is right up there. But we play together on a number of different things. You have your own style, and you are sporting a nice 5-string Furlanetto made right here in Hamilton, Ontario.
Hammer bass.
One of the greatest, one of the bass guitars in the world, and a lot of great musicianship as we touch on every week. What's your Carolyna story? Where did you first hear of her, or did she just garner you and put something around your ankle like a bear trap?
What do you figure?
Yeah.
I was playing at Ivory's. We were just talking about this. We had lunch last week in Kingston. I was playing in Ivory's with the Steve King Band, and it was a big packed house. We were having a great night. It was all sweaty, bluesy fun. And I looked up at one point, and there's this lovely woman kind of staring over the crowd, just catching my eyes, and I was like, who's she?
What did I do?
And sure enough, the set breaks over, and she just buttonholes me.
Yeah.
"Hi, you're Jerry, right? We should play music together." I'm like, "Okay."
It's a done deal.
Yeah. You had me at "You're Jerry."
And Nick, you just came highly recommended, I imagine. You were dragged into this.
Pretty much.
So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Glad to have
Good.
you.
I was raving about him over lunch in
That's right.
Kingston.
Yeah.
You got a drummer? You got a drummer for that?
Put this together, because when you do tour on your own, you have to kind of do this. A bit of the Chuck Berry, get me a band and give me a bag of money.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Except I don't have anybody to say that to, so I have to say, boys, will you come play with me?
You're not turning around finding them $20 for their shoes in the middle of the performance.
No, I'm really lucky.
None of that. But it's how many dates? Was it? There's a lot. I saw the poster. It
Lot
was
of dates.
chock full.
I know, right?
How
It's
long?
very
So coast to coast.
So it started
basically.
on the 28th of June and ends on the 27th of August.
And you're going to wind up
From
on
here out
That's
west,
a good
right out
tour.
to Vancouver Island and up in Whistler and into the interior, and then come back across. And the last show's in Gananoque on the 25th in August, and then I'm gone on the 27th or 28th.
Remarkable.
Crazy.
I love it. I love someone who dedicates their life to music, which you have done, and you are constantly a supporter. And you can be a hard ass and caustic, and that's what the world needs sometimes, because there's a lot of whiners and complainers and excuse makers, and you tend to be the heartless,
I'm just trying. I'm going my brain.
Yes,
Direct from your CV.
okay. That's a bit extreme, but it's. In a world of whiners, your fortitude is much appreciated.
Oh, that's very kind
Yes.
ending to that.
Does it get cold in here all of a sudden?
Falling Knife has no handle, Kev.
Let's talk about this lovely, lovely record, "Ode to the Fan." All right, it's a cutie. Tell us about it. Tell us about what you thought and how you developed it, and the whole concept and how it came to fruition. If it was hard, if it was easy, it was a little bit of both.
Nah, it's a EP, 7 songs, and the last one on there, I have gotten so much grief from. Why did you put that on the end? Why did you put that on the end? From all of the blues guys or all of the, hardcore country guys. And it's the one that's spinning on more places than all the rest of them.
That's always the way.
Which I just think is really funny. I just smile and go, oh yeah, I know. Maybe I should have rethought that.
Not really.
Not really. It is the first EP that I've had, or CD that I've had, that actually has one spinning on country radio and one spinning on blues radio in 2 separate countries at the moment.
That's the way to do it.
I like that.
That
It's
is
not so bad.
fantastic.
It's just that I pitched it in all different areas at the same time.
And I guess you've learned that because people are constantly expecting you to define yourself,
That's
which you understand you have to do for marketing. And so you say, oh, fine, I'm all things to all people, and I'll prove it.
and you still have to have a semblance of order of some sort, so that people will at least, you know who to market it to for the mass of it. But there's always the odd one. And same thing with the last album. I threw this little ditty in at the end. And that little ditty in publishing, so as another job, the real one, that actually makes you money so that you can do this kind of thing.
Crazy good.
There's a little ditty. It took me 20 minutes to write, that kind of thing. And, one commercial alone.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you buy a house with. It's not the kind of thing,
Yeah.
And meanwhile, people going, oh, I don't know if it really belonged there. Oh, okay, well.
What made you kind of stick with it? Did you just have a feeling, or you just?
Yeah, there are something about the ditties, the ones that seem to.
You wake up singing it even though you don't want to, probably. 'Cause you've been working on it all
Stuck in
day
your
in the
brain.
studio, and you'd really like to leave it at work, and it's still in there.
And it's in there. And when you're going to play, the first song that you're thinking about playing is this little ditty, and you're trying to shake it out of your head. Because you're not at the right audience, but it's the one that sticks. So, yeah. And I have a sub-publisher in the States, Crucial Music, great company that, puts my things in film and television and commercials and stuff. So I hand my stuff to them, and those kind of songs are the ones that they want more than all the rest from me.
Wow.
So, yeah,
All right, the first one we're going to play off of this is Wild as the Wind. What would you like to tell us about that tune?
That was recorded, that version of it was recorded at Grant Avenue with Paul Reeman's engineering. The last chance I got to record with Brian Griffiths. Beautiful thing.
It is.
Neil Nikifor is on there, and actually it's Steve Sinnick's on drums on there because he was in the studio with us that day, so lovely thing.
Great bunch of guys.
Great bunch of guys.
And that's history. This is living art. It's music. It's what we do. This is Carolyna Lovely. This is Wild as the Wind, and this is barbershoppodcast.com.
Think you walk away and still have a say. You're gone. You're gone. Wouldn't matter what you said, now in a way. You're gone. You're gone. What'd you think I would just sit by, waiting for the telephone to ring and cry, cry, cry? You did, boy, didn't you? Let me tell you, 'cause you seem confused. Took me about 5 minutes to get over you. Wild women wait for no man. I'm as wild as the wind blowing out of this town, man. Wild as the wind blowing out of this town. Thought I'd call you, begging you to come back home. You're wrong, so wrong. Thought that I would never make it on my own. You're wrong, so wrong. You thought I would just sit by, waiting for the telephone to ring and cry, cry, cry. You did, boy, didn't you? Well, let me tell you, 'cause you seem confused. Took me about 5 minutes to get over you. Wild women wait for no man. I'm as wild as the wind blowing out of this town again. Wild as the wind blowing out of this town. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
And that's Carolyna Lovely. That is Wild as the Wind, and you can find that on her new EP, Ode to the Fan. And you talk about fans, you talk about they're people, and people are different, even though they're the same here, there, and everywhere. And Hamilton, there's a big part of Hamilton that's in you, even though you've traveled and you continue to travel. But it gives us great satisfaction that you carry the banner and that you watch the show, and hopefully you've turned on a few Australian mates to what's happening in Hamilton to watch it, and to know that, if you're watching this right now, it's just incredible to think in this day and age, here we are in high definition and high fidelity, showcasing live original music. This is not a case of having to get in line and scrape to some higher power and to know the right people and to kiss the right ass and to maybe have a few dollars to grease the right palm or any of that stuff. If you've got the gumption to believe you can do it and you put out a body of work and you go out and play and support it, that's good enough for us, And the people that come on here, I am, blown away every week. No one in almost 5 years has been deluded. No one has, thought that they really had something that they didn't, And you would think that there would be enough people who would carry that far enough where it's like no one's really had the will to say, hey, this is not your thing, stop trying to do it, right?
Oh, no.
But yeah, I'm just always amazed. I don't even screen half the people now. It's like, no, if you've got the balls to ask to be on the show, then you're good enough,
high level of talent here.
Yeah, so it's not like an American Idol situation at all. And there continues to be so much talent out there. There's venues, that don't particularly have reputations as music venues who are featuring music. So although we may not have as many mainline big clubs playing music, there's a lot more places where music is featured. How do you find the music scene in Australia versus Canada? What are the just one or two similarities and one or two differences?
Well, when you're talking about country music, it's very similar. Lots of festivals for the country music groups, lots of clubs for the country to play in. When you start to move outside of that, then you move into the cities. It's mostly still DJs and those kind of things and cover bands, and then you have to work your way outside just a little bit to get to the, I don't want to say the good stuff because the others, it's got its place. But for those of us who like to support live original music and what have you.
And also a country that's got quite a distance between centers. It's
much
not
like
packed
Canada.
Together.
That's right.
It's tough to tour.
A lot of driving.
Yeah.
27,000 kilometers around the country to do a tour there.
Yeah, reliable vehicle.
Yeah.
Keeps everyone happy. Yeah, a gun. Or flamethrower.
Only when you go through South Australia. The rest is good.
Do most people avoid Perth?
Well, not most white people.
No.
In the long run.
It's so far away out on a limb. So when you look at Australia, it's so far away from the other big cities.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't get toured as much.
No.
Yeah, and being based still Asia, Southeast Asia, there's a, I imagine there's a dichotomy where you hit a wall as far as music. There's the Western influences that you find, although that's not true because you find American music everywhere and you find British music everywhere.
But you find British music a lot, and Australia, I do believe they are the largest exporter of original per capita.
Yeah, I believe that.
They are because they really support their own in certain genres.
Yeah.
The country guys get
any Australian band that comes over here, I'm blown away. And
good groups.
really good groups.
Did you get Paul Kelly over here?
I haven't yet. We saw the Lazies a couple of times. I don't know, they were rock and roll.
Well, over in Australia, Paul Kelly is like the dude. Yeah. Super writer, had pop bands for years, for 25 years or whatever. When he came to Canada, when I saw him, he was opening for the Waifs, and he was singing his songs more bluegrass type thing. And he had worked with a band in Melbourne, Uncle Bill they're called, and they had turned all his songs into bluegrass stuff. It was
he thrilled?
Awesome. Well, I never listened to him before that, which was a total miss because the guy is a serious poet, and he puts together these lovely songs. But I couldn't listen to that pop music because it's just not my thing. But when these guys played it, I was sucked in. It was awesome. And then when he went on tour with the Waifs, I was out in Vancouver. I couldn't pay enough to go see him. I would have lined up for a day.
Bringing all your friends.
So
you
good.
Got to see him.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
So
Great
good.
discovery. Thank you for turning us on to that. And anyone, get on the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
Find that. All right, you're going to do another live one for us.
Sure.
What's the next one? What's it called?
This is called On the Road Again, and it was about, sometimes people think they have more of you than you're really.
They do.
Right.
All right. I love stories and I love songs, and it's right here on barbershoppodcast.com.
Said it's my way or the highway, so I'm on the road again. Ain't nobody telling me just where my feet can land. Since I got me this guitar and the 1,000 songs I've penned, the highways become my best friend. Oh, 'cause I love all these places and these wide open spaces. Oh, and I love seeing in their faces. So I'll bring home the bacon and I'll fry it up for my friends. Oh, 'cause me and the boys will be on the road again. There's a broken down love song between you and me. You drive me crazy, I drive you to drink. But I do love you, baby. Oh, and I know you love me. So if you're looking, the road's where I'll be. Yeah, I love all these places and these wide open spaces. Oh, and I love singing in their faces. So I'll bring home the bacon and I'll fry it up for my friends. Oh, 'cause me and the boys will be on the road again.
I like it. Good stuff from Carolyna Lovely. You got to get yourself some of this. Where can people get this? Where can they get it?
Carolyna.com.
Carolyna.com.
And iTunes and Amazon.
Get on the internet. Look for it. If you
Just
have your
Google
care,
me.
you can find that thing. All right.
One of those computer things.
Going to give a shout out to our wonderful, lovely tax lady. Our bookkeeping tax lady. She is fantastico. She is on our side, and she could be on your side. If you have not done your taxes yet, get them done and get them done right. Get them done by someone who has full accreditation, who knows all of the laws and rules and regulations, so things get done and get done right. That's why they're called taxes done right. If you need a bookkeeper because you're really good at doing your job, but you're really crappy at keeping books and records about it, If you're the creative type and it's not your thing, get a hold of Heather at Taxes Done Right, because that's her specialty. That's what she does. She helps us, and we've had no problems. We've never been pulled into court. We've never been arrested. We've never got in trouble or nothing. So she must be doing something right, I tell you that much. Crazy busy here all the time. You have to do that, right? You have to be busy. You have to be willing to try new things and be kind of fearless diving in. You ever find yourself in a time or situation where you're kind of in a rut, or have you always been someone who'd been able to drive yourself?
No, I can drive myself, but I drive myself out of a rut often. Yeah. So you drive in and you just have to stand up and shake it off and get the hell out. You know, it happens. So many things pop up. I mean, this is the arts, right?
Yeah, and it really, what you do, a lot of physical work where you're actually working a piece of property and managing it, and that's got to take a lot of your time and a lot of your energy.
It does,
right?
but I have a fabulous partner that does the vast majority of those things, and I'm the one who holds things and helps and does the secondary person on that for the most part, which is very good.
And there's always been support for your art and your music, right? So that's so important. Don't ever be with somebody, if you are an artistic type, who does not get what you do. And even if they don't get what you do, they get you, and they allow you to flourish without judgment or restriction, then that's close second. That's good enough.
Either that or write a song like On the Road Again and get them to follow you, if that's not
there you go. Vexing, hexing, all of it. It's witchcraft. That's really, music is, it is magical.
It really is.
It is. And bad music is not so magical. Great music is when you feel it, and, because the hair stands up and you get goosebumps, and only so many things do that. When a song gets to you like that, it's fantastic. It's great. We're going to do another tune off of the CD. This one's called Workin'. Talking about working. That's just what the segue. Did you see that? Fantastic. Or what's this one about? Is this I
actually wrote it 2 days before I was heading into the studio with some beautiful boys from Seattle. And I knew I was getting an opportunity to play with some boys.
Some quality.
And to record at a really good studio, and it just came out. And so I wrote that for them, and they were happy to play it.
That's great.
Yeah.
She wrote it. They were happy to play it. It was created. It was captured. And it's here right now, barbershoppodcast.com.
Perhaps you're here to forget your day, your week, your year. The politician screaming in your ear. Welcome you. Perhaps you're here to dance about and let it out. Play some air guitar and get out of your head. Well, let me see if I can help you out there, friend. I got the boys out working, out on the road again. Me and the boys are working, playing every night we can. I got the boys out working, out on the road again. Me and the boys are working, out on the road again, all around the world, man. So show some love to the girl in the band who never left. Didn't get that day job, but grow the fuck up. And show some love to the boys in the band who've been here 1,000 times, and now they're back with love. Yeah, from me to you, love. I got the boys out working, out on the road again, yeah. Me and the boys are working, playing every night we can. I got the boys out working, out on the road again, yeah. Me and the boys are working, out on the road again, yeah. I got the boys out working.
you know that's working. And we work here at Barber Shop Podcast to bring you the very best each and every week. All we ask is that you support us by following or liking. How hard is it to like? It's the easiest thing in the world to do, unless it sucks, and we don't suck. It's good. So like us, share it with your friends. Say this is a great podcast. You should check it out. And it grows thusly, and who knows where it'll be in a few years, but I'll tell you what it will be. It will be a way for you, the listener and the viewer, to check out the very best in live original music from Hamilton and the surrounding areas. In this case, it's a rather large surrounding area indeed. All right, let's go right to it. Let's play another live one. What are you going to do? What's it called? What's the
Forgiven.
Story? Forgiven? And is it self-explanatory?
Sure.
The good ones always are. This is Forgiven. This is Carolyna Lovely, and this is barbershoppodcast.com.
And the sight and sound I hear familiar in my mind, going over time. How I love you, baby, but you drive me crazy. I am forgiven. I am forgiven. God, I am. Walking, talking, laughing, loving, then it's gone again. Beginning of the end. Oh, you know I love you, baby, but you drive me crazy. I am forgiven. I am forgiven. God, I am. Chase me, boy, just leave me be. I'm fine, my friend. I'm taking a high road, baby. Don't you know how you drive me crazy? I'm running around my room, pulling out my hair. No fear, no fear, no.
Says lovely. Lovely. It is so lovely. So apropos. Carolyna Lovely. Great little finish. And when it all comes together, it leaves you with such a great feeling, and
so do bass solos that stand like
that.
And
he, Jared tell you about his Black Velvet story. That always sums it up. Why don't you tell them? Like, I always tell a version of it, but you're the one who told it to me when describing. It's like, what's a bass player? Like, what's a good bass player? I play a little guitar. I can play bass, but I'm not a bass player. I'm a frustrated.
Talking about now.
I'm a frustrated guitar player, and I sound like a frustrated guitar player when I play bass. You are a bass player, and you said somebody told you.
Well, no, it was something that came out in a lesson one time when I had a student I was working with, and I was saying, just asking him how he came to the instrument, why he wanted to play it, because a lot of people kind of come to bass by playing something else and then not getting place in the band, so then they pick up the bass, right? And I said, if you're going to play bass, you got to love the instrument. And I said, because the role is to be the black velvet cloth under the diamond.
Yeah.
And they're completely interdependent. But if you don't want to be the black cloth and support the diamond, then it's not the right instrument for
you.
You
don't want to take a picture of a diamond on a dirty kitchen table.
No.
But you take a picture of that diamond on a piece of black velvet, and the diamond shines. Right?
Yeah,
that's right.
So you have to understand that anyone who knows anything knows when there's symbiotic. Any society works that way. Any herd, any pride works that way through symbiosis.
Thanks for being the black velvet too.
But you were the black velvet.
Your diamond anytime.
And Nick very skilledy wow with the brushes, because it is a tough thing to play. To play brushes, and you introduced me to Mr. Gadd, who was Steve Gadd, who was the king of the brushes, I guess you would say. There's a minimalistic methodology to his playing that you've kind of embraced somewhat, right? Or try to. I mean,
beautiful work. Sounds gorgeous.
He's given me a few hints along the way.
Yeah, and that's anyone who's if you're a young guy into drums, look up Mr. Steve Gadd.
Brushes are great.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be quiet.
That's right.
There's great strength in talking about that Oh Susanna show. It's like there I saw with that quiet, how powerful that quietness can be. When it's harnessed, it's amazing. It's like anyone can do it, like the Who did in '64, right? With bludgeon your way to the top, But to have that to subtlety and to grab the moment. You do it. Your vocalizations, your phrasing, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. And that's a style that doesn't come. You can't really approximate that. Did you have to develop your own style, or did you really model yourself after anyone else?
No, I think turning off the radio for 20 years really helped. I mean, I loved when people would introduce me to music and what have you, and going out to live shows to listen to things, but when doing your own work with your voice, and like any other instrument, the more you sing, the better it gets. The more you sing, the better it gets.
Be honest with yourself, because we tend to be hard on ourselves, harder than we should be.
Hard on ourselves. And you're allowed to have squeaks and
yeah.
bumps and all that other kind of stuff. I've put out a CD called Lumps, Bumps, and Ugly Bits. You know? I did. And it just went around to a group of the, you know, but I love those ones. And it doesn't matter that there's something in there that might not make it to radio. Who cares?
Yeah, when we did the mental health record, Cindy Dell's song, she came in and she had this last bit of a cold coming in, and she's quite a perfectionist and has a beautiful voice. And there was just this one little raspy moment, and she was consumed with like doing it again. I'm going, we're not ever touching that. That's
right.
You know, like you understand, but that's the best part of the whole thing. That's that human gotcha, you know, sneaks in there just when you've kind of steeled yourself against the slick production or whatever. There's that moment of sheer humanism that gets in there, and we'll get you every time. Music is where it's at. It is the combination of so many different art forms all put together in a package, and it does not exist on its own. It needs your support. Seriously, if you or someone who loves music but hasn't been to a show in years, what's keeping you from going to a show? They don't card you at the door in reverse. They don't say you're too old, get out of here. It's like, trust me, I'm old, and they let me in. I remember I'd left the scene when I had the kids. I was out of the scene for 7-8 years, and I came back and I got the sir right away. It's like, oh, can I help you? Can I help you, sir? And it's like, this is terrible. I don't know anyone anymore, and they're calling me sir.
I love it though.
But
I must say, I love getting older, and the bands get better because I go to better bands.
Yeah, it's true.
And the players are better because I play with better players. It's just a lovely thing.
It's true. It's true. It's just to blow your head off bands. Like, that's great when you're younger, and then you do that, and you don't have much head left, and it's like I've honed this head that I didn't destroy with drugs and alcohol. I now want to use it for the finer things, quality music.
Better drugs than alcohol.
All right. Now, this song, All Mine, it's clearly about where you were like fixated on a dude, and you got him, and he's all yours. Or it could be a car.
Funny enough, the first is correct, and the second one is what it was up for, a car commercial, a truck commercial for Ford trucks. I didn't get it, but it was up right to the last little things, and I was all excited. See how close you were?
It's true.
I know.
It can be, because it makes us feel.
Now listen to it and think of it. Truck commercial where girls are going to buy trucks, and tell me that shouldn't have been the one that was picked.
I won't tell you, because I know you're absolutely right. This is it. All Mine, and this is Carolyna Lovely, and this is Barber Shop Podcast.com.
Come on now, baby, I'm gonna make you mine. Oh, mine for all time. Come on now, darling, I'm gonna love you fine. So fine for all time. I'm gonna love you when I hate you. I'm gonna miss you when I'm gone. And you know the stars align and your body's lying next to mine. I'm gonna make you all mine for all time. I'm gonna send you out on your own, watch you come on home to me. And when anywhere I am is where I know you wanna be, and you'll have all of me for all time. Come on now, baby, I'm gonna make you mine. Oh, mine for all time, yeah. Come on now, darling, I'm gonna love you fine. So fine for all time, yeah. Come on now, baby, I'm gonna make you mine. Oh, mine for all time, yeah. Come on now, darling, I'm gonna love you fine. So fine for all time, yeah. Oh, mine, yeah. Oh, all time. Oh, mine, yeah. For all time, yeah.
And a bit of lineage there in that tune, recorded at, you said, Stone Gossard Studio in
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah. A great sound, and I would have bought a truck for sure if I would have heard that. Like,
Thank
anyone
you,
there at
darling.
Ford, like, you got, there's always trucks next year. Grab that song. And this is a big part of the business, because you, as I said, so many fearlessly kind of attacking all the different aspects of the music and getting into a lot of areas that people are often fearful to tread, namely publishing and a lot of the legalese stuff that is kind of daunting. But really, that's where you meet some of the greatest people and where the opportunities tend to kind of open up. Is there a secret? Someone young who's getting into it who says, I want to have my songs maybe seen by someone other than the same group of people. What's a good? Is there a not asking for any secrets, you know, if you got anything, there aren't many.
Well, there used to be method to madness, and then the internet became pervasive infrastructure, and it's not quite, now it's just madness, and very little method, and there's all those people out there who are trying to sell you methods online and what have you.
What's the structure for you know, publishing for dummies? How does it work? So there's the artist, and there's the publicist who goes to the publisher, who goes to the...
Well, it used to be like that. You have to... I used to have to the pub, right, with your dough, but you don't get... there used to be a lot of hands in between that you had to fill with money and shake and, you know, convince all along the way before it got to that commercial or that television show. Way gone now. So the very first one that I put in... I shook the hand of the guy who was doing a commercial for a jewelry store, and I did a deal, handshake deal, over the internet with him on LinkedIn. We had connected.
Wow.
And I did that without another publisher, a manager, and anybody else. And then I did the deal for separate markets. And that's when I call a lawyer, and then he does the handshake, you know, he does all the paperwork. But until that point, he and I had been back and forth, loved a certain tune, wanted 19.5 seconds of it, and awesome. You know,
great.
Yeah, it was really good. And so what I recommend to anyone that wants to get into it is not first to buy into all of those things. There are aggregates. If you're not going to be that person who goes out and does the work like I do, I spend a lot of time, and sometimes I'm behind a computer 8 hours a day like a job, for 3 and 4 months at a time, pushing things, knowing that that's my day job right now. That's what I'm going to do. But if you're not that person, and you write songs and you've got them recorded to a certain, you know, they have to be radio friendly or at least broadcast quality. Once you've got it to that point, I highly recommend finding an aggregate. And so where in putting out CDs, your aggregate would be iTunes or CD Baby or something like that. In publishing, you need, say, I will just throw out a name because lots of people use them, and Taxi Music, for instance, down in the States. You can join them as a Canadian. They do a road rally every year that you can go down and write with other people, play in front of publishers, hopefully get your music heard, that kind of thing. But you're learning the whole time anyway. And then they present opportunities to all the different writers and not to the outside writers if you're not part of that group. So you've got this group of people that are listening to it. Katy Perry actually used to be a listener. They couldn't place one of her songs, really? But she met all these people through that, you know, and what have you. But nonetheless, you send your stuff into what it is they're calling for, and you just what you have to know is that your song doesn't go everywhere. So that's your first ego step to get over. You love it and your mama loves it, awesome. But unless they've got an audience for it of people who are going to buy it in your neighborhood, you're probably not going to find an audience for it in larger audience, because that's how that works. You know, these people are still buying it for that audience, you know. So.
And you must constantly be productive. You just constantly putting up new material. That's right. Constantly feeding. That's shoveling the coal, as they say. And
sometimes once you get one thing, you know, that's all it takes, because once they know your stuff is out there, then you get other sub-publishers from around the world. And that's the other thing. Do not sign a 360 deal. Do not sign your publishing away to one company. Do not do it. Just do not do it. If you think it's worth anything, believe in yourself and pitch it to all of the different ones. And once a few of them pick up, then a few more of them want your stuff. And
so, if you're attractive to one person, chances are you're attractive to more than one person.
And as long as you're willing to do the work and just pitch it out there and get it, you know, and follow up. That's the other thing, because a lot of the time it's sitting there and they haven't listened to it. But before it hits the garbage, you've got that one other opportunity to
How
just give a
many
call.
deals have been saved by that just because they're like, oh, I was going to get, thank you, I lost your number, or I was going to get back to it. Thank you. It's perseverance.
That's right.
Creativity, perseverance, and take what you do seriously. Don't take, yourself too seriously though, and persevere. It's a long game.
The long tail, that's right.
It's just
and providing a huge body of work helps.
Yeah.
Once you've been doing it a very long time, you've got a very large body of work. And if you know how to record it, which I learned how to do so that I could do these other jobs and make multiple streams of income come in when it wasn't coming in from playing shows anymore. Because how do you go from, we're getting paid, not that we're complaining, because we're still getting paid and it's, to play music. But we're getting paid the same kind of money I was getting paid in like 1982.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
And I don't know another person working a job that's getting, like my plumber doesn't get the same money he gets in 1982. So
it's
why am I
absolutely crazy?
It hasn't budged in 25 years.
It's
madness.
Down. Yeah,
It's madness.
It is madness, and there has to be. And this is what the thing we're doing here. It's
That's
like
right,
food.
okay.
Food is more than just basic
what you do.
nourishment. It is important in every aspect of your life. Music is too. If you're a music lover, you need to, fire up the people in your workplace or your school. Like, tell them, what you're onto. Don't keep it to yourself. This is something. These are, and I wouldn't say dire times, but I would say we've got a very good thing. Don't take it for granted. It must be supported. And I'm tired of the same group of people supporting it. There's a vast, and they're just not even aware of it. Like, if they knew it was even there, it's not like they're choosing not to go support local independent music, but they have no idea it exists. Because
How do you feel about the early shows, though?
I love it because I've
I've
always said, and it's said that you can combine, us old farts and then the young ones, and we could play, 8 to 10:30, and then they can play 11 at close, right? So it's like the crowds intermingle, and some of the old dudes might decide they're going to stay around for an extra hour, and some of the young guys saying maybe they'll come in an hour early, and you've got that blend where everyone.
Beautiful thing.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen.
It works beautifully.
Idea.
I just played a club in Kingston called the Mansion. I'm sure you've heard of it. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the Mansion, they get great bands in. And I was playing with a band who has the greatest name, Clem Chesterfield and the Lazy Boy Recliners.
Oh, I love it.
How good is that?
Damn it.
I know, right?
That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. And so Clem invited me to join a show, and there were 3 acts, and we were done by 11 o'clock, and the next band was starting at 12, and all their group had shown up before we finished, and they were playing from 12 till 2.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And if you choose to stay, you will. If
That's
not,
right.
then you can still get your shit done the next day.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to play another one off of your CD, because we did live last, right?
That's right.
I lose track. I went back to back. This one is called By My Side, which is, I think, something that, song title's really important. When you put 2 or 3 words together, that has to carry a certain lyrical weight to give you a little insight to what the song's about, but not give too much away. I like this one already. What's it about?
Well, people think it is a gospel song, but I haven't a religious bone in my body, so I think of men who I think of in that way. And then I wrote that song. It was very easy.
And a little reverence. We all love it. Goodness knows, By My Side. And this is, of course, off of the Ode to the Fan. And this is Carolyna Lovely. And this is barbershoppodcast.com.
When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with my head held high. When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with you by my side. In times of trouble, I call on you. You held me at your side. You lifted my arms to the glory of life, and brought the joy back into my life. When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with my head held high. When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with you by my side. When the clouds of my past fall down on me, I'm hanging my head in shame. I look to my heart to find the light that you left, and feel the freedom just speaking your name. When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with my head held high. When I walk through the valley of evil, I will walk with you by my side.
I got less than 10 seconds. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of great music. This is what we're all about here at Barber Shop Podcast. Carolyna Lovely is tonight's guest, and she's got one more live one for us, a little taste, something that you can experience tomorrow night at This Ain't Hollywood, an early show, 8 p.m. start, 3:45 James Street North. If you're watching this on Facebook, it's going to be playing all night. Wednesday night, it's going to be playing all day on Thursday. So if you're watching this show, you can catch this show tonight, if it's tomorrow. At This Ain't Hollywood, 345 James Street North. Check it out, $10. It will be so worth it. One more to send us off. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play Who Pays, and I wrote this about my little brother who was struggling with addiction for many, many years, and happy to say he's over 400 days clean now.
That is so awesome.
I know, and he's really, I mean, this, you know, sometimes they go off and on and off and on, but when you see the change that takes place in somebody that is really done
when
the work.
When you love someone who struggles like that, and you see the way the sun reflects off their face when that change happens, there's nothing greater in the world. So I love the build up to this, and I'm sure I'm going to love it.
Thanks, Kid.
And I'm sure you're going to love it right here on barbershoppodcast.com.
Bad Bucky is a beautiful boy, tall and blonde and crazy mean, running wild in the streets, shame and anger burning his belly, mixing with the alcohol and pills. He's making himself ill. And who pays when the man who walks away leaves behind a boy to find his own way? How does he learn to be a man? How does he learn to fall in love again? Who pays? Who pays? The cycle has not been broken in this angry family. Now the baby's having babies like it's free, and the sons of the sun feel the poison in their vein. The blood comes with the name. And who pays when the man who walks away leaves behind a boy to find his own way? How does he learn to be a man? How does he learn to fall in love again? Who pays? Who pays? Who? Will you take my hand, brother? Let me lead you from here. Will you stand up for yourself and your babies? Oh, no more maybes before you disappear. 'Cause who pays? Who pays? Who pays? Who leaves behind a boy to find his own way? How does he learn to be a man? How does he learn to fall in love again? Who pays? Who pays?
And that's Who Pays, and that's Carolyna Lovely, and that's another great edition of Barber Shop Podcast. We do it every week, more or less, but they're up there on YouTube. Check us out, follow us, like us, share us, and join us next week. And for Gary and Ryan, I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. It was fun. I love you. I love you. And I love you. See you next week. BarbershopPodcast.com.